Joining me now is the view from the House side of things, and that's Democratic Congressman of Pennsylvania, Brendan Boyle, who says that he is a hell no on this Senate deal. Congressman Boyle, you just heard the reaction from your fellow Pennsylvanian, Senator Fetterman. He obviously feels as though it was time to reopen the government. Why do you feel differently?
Oh, I disagree with that characterization. I have, from the very beginning, House Democrats have been united, saying that it was Republicans who were shutting down the government because they were, just as it's Republicans who have inflicted these health care cuts on the American people. According to the Congressional Budget Office, over 15 million Americans will lose their health care, and premiums will go up for tens of millions more. That's what this has all been about. Even Donald Trump himself, sitting in the Oval Office, announced that this whole fight has been over health care. And that is the biggest reason, again, as Donald Trump said the morning after the election, that was one of the two big reasons, according to him, why Democrats were so successful this last election. The American people have been on our side throughout this. I just got off a caucus meeting moments ago with the entire House Democratic caucus, and we remain united in opposing any deal that would do nothing to address the health care of the American people, because that issue can't wait until January, because those cuts take effect right now and would be locked in place before we get to January 1.
So what is your response then to the moderate Democrats who voted yes for this, who said there was no deal to be had? Republicans were insistent that they weren't going to talk to us about health care until the government was reopened. And we felt the best path forward was to alleviate the pain that so many people were feeling as a result of the shutdown and then get to the negotiating table. Is that not an argument that holds water with you?
I have to say, and look, each member of Congress is going to search their own conscience and intellect and make their own decisions, and I respect that. But I have to say, I really don't understand the logic of voting against this CR for weeks and weeks, seeing an election in which our position was validated by a solid majority of the American people, including in my state of Pennsylvania, and then suddenly capitulating and throwing in the towel and getting absolutely nothing. I mean, it is laughable that the only thing these handful of Senate Democrats got was a pinky promise that at some point next month, Senate Republicans would allow a vote on something vague, yet to be defined, yet to be written. And meanwhile, Mike Johnson has already come out and say it was absolutely dead in the water in the House.
So what happens now? Obviously, I know that you still have a voice in all of this. The House will get a vote on it. I'm sure you're going to do everything you can to try and prevent that from happening. But at some point, this bill is going to pass. The government will be reopened, and 22 million Americans are still not going to have access to these Affordable Care Act premium subsidies. What is the solution to get to that point, given the reality of where things stand now?
Why I feel the fierce urgency of now, because this actually is the last best chance to solve the Republican-created healthcare crisis. If this CR passes the Senate and a few days later passes the House, then Democrats will have effectively given up the last bit of leverage we had in order to save the healthcare of the American people. And these cuts will certainly take effect. Now, that said, I do not think it's a fait accompli in the House. Again, I was impressed by the unity on the call that I just left of House Democrats. I think that we will continue to stand firm from our leader, Hakeem Jeffries, all the way down throughout our caucus. And Mike Johnson, will need to carry probably more than 99% of House Republicans to vote in favor of this. He has more than a dozen House Republicans, by the way, who have signed on to legislation embracing extending the Obamacare tax credits. Well, here's an opportunity for them to put their money where their mouth is and vote with us to make sure we get this done right now before those increases actually take effect.
You used a word there that Republicans have been using against Democrats like you since the beginning of this fight, and that's leverage. They've suggested that leverage is not something that should be used when it comes at the expense of federal workers missing a paycheck or the millions of Americans who aren't getting SNAP benefits. How would you respond to that criticism that you're using these people who are blameless in this whole showdown as leverage to get a policy goal?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Are you suggesting that Republican members of Congress suddenly care about federal workers after the Trump administration has already laid off 200,000 federal workers this year, and that was before the shutdown? Are we supposed to pretend that Republicans really care about those who are on SNAP after almost every single one of them voted for the Republican tax bill that cuts $187 billion from SNAP, the largest cuts in American history? Right now, there are 2 federal courts that have ruled what President Trump is doing is illegal, that he has to release the contingency funds so that those who are on SNAP aren't adversely affected. And yet the White House is ignoring 2 different court orders. I have yet to read one statement from even one House or Senate Republican standing up against this president. So spare me the crocodile tears from my Republican colleagues that suddenly they care about SNAP or federal workers. Give me a break.
Okay, you obviously are disappointed with the way some of your Senate Democratic colleagues have handled this. How much blame do you put at the feet of the Democratic leader, Chuck Schumer? And do you believe it's time for a change in leadership on the Senate side? I know you're not a senator, but obviously their decisions have really impacted the way you guys are going about your policymaking.
Yeah, well, first, I'm very proud of House Democratic leadership, from Hakeem Jeffries, like I said, throughout the entire leadership team. We have been singing from the same hymnal from the very beginning, and I think that's extraordinarily helpful. I do want to make sure, though, we keep the main thing, and that is it is Republicans who have created this healthcare crisis. Let's not forget that the record cuts,
Congressman, respectfully, I've let you make that point, though.
I'm sorry for answering the question. The record cuts to Obamacare, Medicaid, and Medicare were created as part of the Republican tax bill. And as Republicans right now who are refusing to address that, every Democratic senator, even those who might have suddenly flipped in the last 24 hours, agree with me that we need to stop these Republican health care cuts. So let's not forget who is actually inflicting this pain on the American people and creating this crisis.
But you didn't answer my question. Do you think Senator Schumer should still be the leader of the Senate Democrats?
Well, I'm a House Democrat, to be clear. I'm always, frankly, not pleased when those who are outside the caucus are commenting on our caucus elections. I've always stayed out of House Republican leadership fights, Senate Democratic leadership fights, Senate Republican leadership fights, and I will continue that policy.
Okay, Congressman Boyle, thank you so much. We got a lot in there. We appreciate it. Thank you for being on.
Thank you.
We thank you for watching. And remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.